is up, everybody? Welcome to the Wingin It podcast. Andre, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Just got rounded up unfortunately, for my normal day off, but I'm still able to do this, so I'm happy.
Yeah. So I know I said this week was probably gonna be a long one. It may not be that long because there really ain't nothing to really focus on that hadn't already been run through the ground already. So there was one thing though from like a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. The whole Prince of Persia remake slash remaster that they're doing, and the feels like hundreds of delays it keeps getting. And now they shifted it back to Ubisoft Montreal. And I wanted to get your thoughts on it because I don't remember anybody asking for a Prince of Persia remake.
I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of people asking for it, to be honest. It was just small groups of people. I don't know if maybe they just figured that they could reboot it and potentially make some money off of it. Mm.
I mean, because essentially, isn't Prince of Persia what turned into Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, with a few tweaks here and there.
Yeah, I mean, I know Assassin's Creed is more on the stealth side of things, but yeah, I'm like that's pretty much what it turned in. And to be completely fair, I like the third one, Two Thrones, better than the first two. Just to be fair, in all honesty.
Hmm.
But when they said they were just going to do the first one, I'm like, but what about the other two? Like it's that's a whole. The story is told over three games.
It could be a situation where they're looking at remaking just the first game to see how well it does, especially if they're just doing it from the ground up.
Hmm.
I can see why they would just do the first game start.
Okay, yeah, that actually makes sense. It's just it's a couple things. One, I don't remember people like going crazy over uh Prince of Persia like that to begin with. And then two, I was just like, okay, why do y'all keep having delays on it? And now it's seemingly back with the team that it should have never left to begin with Ubisoft Montreal. I'm just like, this is probably a recipe for disaster as far as like budgeting is concerned, because you're still having to pay for it, even if you're
Yep.
still delaying it and moving it around to different studios. So that's still money being spent. It's not like it's just like on the shelf and nobody's working on it. People are working on it. They have to be paid. So
Hmm.
you would think they probably had a better idea of what they wanted to do and how they would go about, plan. The plan would be set before they actually started doing anything about it. But I just found it to be interesting, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, that is logistically a nightmare. There's no two ways about that. Logistically, that is a complete nightmare. And
Yeah,
they have screwed themselves on
one of those situations where I'm glad I don't have that job because
that.
that, that's gonna be, whew, boy. I'd hate to have to be the guy that got to go into the meetings. But
Yeah, I would not want to be that project manager.
yeah, not want to have to go into that. So a lot of people have been talking about, because it keeps coming up, and that's the successor to the Switch. And I'm like, I really wish I would stop talking about this because we're still in a chip shortage, and I don't think I know that Nintendo's probably working on their probably almost done with their next thing because usually once a uh, system drops, the next iteration of the console of the future generation of console hardware usually starts R&D that year anyway.
Yeah,
So I know they were working on it, but we are in a little bit of an issue here that's called the chip shortage, which it was started before the pandemic even hit, and the pandemic just multiplied and made it worse. Um,
mhm.
and some analysts actually believe that the best bet or the most positive outlook would be it will probably start leveling off probably sometime around summer or fall of 2023. That's if everything aligns just right. And so that being said, that's a reason why you can't find your PS5s, your Xbox Series. They have like a little bit, and then it'll immediately sell out, and you're back on the waiting list. That's pretty much why. And Nintendo's about to get hit with it too because they're running through all of that what they're using. So they're about to run into it too with the Switch itself. That's been reported already. So with that being said, I'm like, why do people keep acting like, oh, it's going to come out next year?
Uh, I mean, there's a possibility, but if it did, it would not launch. It would not launch with a lot of units. You'd be
It won't.
seeing the PS5 Series X situation all over again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it wouldn't even make sense for them to drop it. Like from a business standpoint, because I know we said it. Like it didn't make sense for them for Sony and Microsoft to drop it when they did, when they knew good and well they weren't gonna be able to keep up with demand anyway.
Yeah, but they probably banked on that and figured the more they had people talking about shortages, it kept their consoles on people's minds and made them want to get them more.
Yeah, that's true. But sometimes that helps, but sometimes that don't. And in this situation, it really doesn't because now, as the as we found out this week, Gotham Knights is now allegedly, and I'm saying allegedly because they're saying that it's not being made for PS4 and Xbox One. I call cap. I call cap
That'd be a dumb move.
because number one, you don't have enough PS5s and Xbox Series X's out in the wild to do that because you're not going to make anything.
Nope.
Your your bigger your bigger bases are on the PS4 and the Xbox One. Now I don't know why they can't. I don't know what the issue is. They're not saying what the actual issue is with Gotham Knights, and I'm starting to think it's probably because of the multiplayer aspect of it. To be honest, I'm thinking they probably couldn't get that to work because initially you're supposed to be able to play 4 players. Then uh, it got revealed that it was going to be down to 2 player, and so I'm wondering if that is the main issue as to why Gotham Knights is having so many issues. It's probably because they can't get that aspect to work, and I don't know if it's like a situation in which the game was just too ambitious. I don't know. We know that some of these newer games, the devs are all about, you know, you hear them use all the same buzzwords. We got to push the boundaries and all this and all that. And I'm like, yeah, but you can't get the game to work.
Problem is, everybody wants to start big and then try to make it smaller instead of starting smaller and getting something functional and then making it bigger.
Yeah, I just I don't, from a business standpoint, I don't understand. Now I'm thinking the problem is now is they done sunk so much money into it they can't afford to cancel it. So
Nope.
that's why they're saying it's only going to be available for, I think it's PC, Xbox Series S and X, and PS5. Once again, I'm calling cap on that because the PS4 Pro is just a little bit under PS5 in terms of processing speed and power. It's not that big of a graphical leap. It's not that big of a technical leap. So that can't be the issue. Now I can see if they were saying, you know, they couldn't put it like they had to hold off on the PC version, or they had to hold off on the console version and put it on PC first. I can even understand that. Although I would feel a certain type of way about it. I can understand that. I can understand that. The Yeah, Trinell, I don't believe that. I don't believe the previous gens are holding the game. They're holding the game back. I don't believe that. I I just don't believe that.
No, I swear when people say that, they don't think about all the stuff that we had before this quote unquote holdback fell into place.
Yeah, like when I read something like that, I'm like, I that to me just seems ridiculous, and I just think that like when I hear a developer or I read that a developer put that out, I think they're just putting that out there just to say, hey, I need something to say because if I don't say something, it's gonna make us look bad. So that's where I'm at with that whole there. The games are being held back by previous generation because the previous generation ain't that far off from what they have now.
Not in the looks department,
Yeah,
unless people are just considering this full ray tracing and largely overboated upscaling.
yeah. And from what I understand, they're using Unreal Engine 4 anyway. So
It'll make a difference.
yeah. So what's the yeah? What's the what? Once again, me personally, I think it's probably something that has to do with the multiplayer. I just
Yeah,
I think it's something
probably.
that has to do with the multiplayer. I mean,
Honestly, honestly, we're the last couple of generations, everybody's been so not necessarily single player focused, but individual player focused. Like
mhm,
multiplayer games can only have one person playing that game online per person. So it's still an individual experience, whether or not you're playing with a group of people or not, you're still playing individually from one platform. Back in the day, multiplayer was a huge focus, so everything was made with incorporating that, and then you had fewer single player. But it's the way it's the way things are being developed. That's the big problem.
yeah,
They're getting
but
because I'm sorry, you can go back to the Teen Titans game on GameCube, PS2, and I think OG Xbox had it too. That was a multiplayer game. Four
yeah,
people could play, and you still had an AI partner left behind because it was five Titans.
yeah, that's true. I you know what that does make a lot of sense because really the only company that really does actually still do couch co-op and online is Nintendo with a focus on it anyway.
Yeah, there's very few games from Nintendo that have an online multiplayer that doesn't have a local multiplayer.
Yeah. So which that should have never went away to begin with. But once again, that was one of those situations where you had a lot of devs complaining. Nobody wants to play multiplayer games. Or I remember having one guy when we was with the games at large argue me down because his friends don't live in the same state as him. I'm like, dude, that sounds like a personal issue.
That is a personal issue.
Like
That's
you
not
don't know how to
everybody's
make
issue.
friends. I'm like, that don't sound like a company issue. Like they're not responsible for you not being able to make friends.
Um, okay, like what games were successful in the Wii Sports?
Yep.
Wii Sports Resort was also very popular. So if anybody would say, well, Wii Sports was a pack in, Wii Sports Resort wasn't.
Yeah, we supposed to
It
was
still
not
did
bad.
well. I
Mm-mm.
had no online
And if you put that, that's why I was laughing. I was laughing. I saw somebody complaining about Switch Sports. I'm like, if you take that game right now and turn it on, I bet you that'll get a house party started.
play. Hmm.
It's just the way the game is designed. It's a party game.
Yeah,
It's
and
designed to
online
be
is a
played.
bonus.
Yeah, it's designed to be played with a group of people at home. So, and that's all Wii Sports was. Like Wii Sports was basically you got a family reunion or your siblings come home from college and everybody's playing bowling. I don't know why bowling was a go to. Bowling is
Or if you
always a go.
had bowling was a go-to. But if you had beef with somebody, I got on boxing and just let it go.
Yep. Or you was gonna burn some calories on that boxing, especially if you did like 4 matches back to back.
Oh yeah, shit. Nah, I remember playing with my me and my mother got into it with boxing. And I was like we might not have been professional boxers, but that looked like a professional match. It was bobbing, weaving, uppercuts. Hey, like,
Had to go to the corner.
but it's just the nature. It's the nature of the game. It's the
Yeah.
nature of how the game is designed. That's the problem. Everybody wants to make these super detailed characters that nobody can, that you can't barely see the details on because the camera's going to be super panned out, and all this grit and realism that they're trying to put in. All those little etched details cost money to put in there. And
Yeah,
it's a time sink, and it's also a resource sink.
which begs the
I
question.
mean,
I guess Owada was right in 2006.
he's been right about a lot of things, but people just didn't want to listen.
Yeah, I find that to be I find it to be that GDC conference where he was keynote speaker, and I'm like, dude, if anybody goes back and listen to that, everything he said is coming true.
Mm-hmm.
I I will say it. I said it before. I will say it again. There is no reason why a video game should have the budget of a blockbuster movie.
There is no
They
reason
don't
to.
have the same fan bases. They don't. And blockbuster films are designed to make their money in 2 weeks. If they don't make their money in 2 weeks, that's pretty much it. Video games originally were designed to make money over time, not, you know, the first 3 weeks of it being out. No, you were supposed to make your money over time. But when you start
Right?
having uh, video games, like the biggest offender was Destiny. Destiny cost five
Oh
hundred
yeah,
million dollars to make. That made no sense.
way too much money.
Yeah, that made no sense. Because I could have told them they weren't gonna make that back. Not like that.
Nope,
But then I look at
not
something like
for.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say like then I looked at something like Darksiders, and Darksiders. I think the first two they were like 50 and 60 million a piece to make them. Like that was too high.
Mm, yeah, it definitely was. Even though those were good games, that was definitely too high.
It was definitely too high. I'm like, and I love the Dark Side of the series. I'm a fan of it. I mean, I need to finish Genesis, but I'm a fan of the series. So, and when I heard that that's how much it cost, I'm like, that game shouldn't have cost that much. I'm like, because I don't know how they were gonna play, because you weren't gonna make it back that first. Because once again, the Dark Side of the series is an action adventure, but it's not a it's not a Mario, it's not a Halo, it's not a established you know established franchise. So your first game costing that much, dude, that's kind of you're betting a lot. And I know it didn't make
Yep.
that. I know it didn't make that well on because the PS3 version was jacked up. The 360 version was fine. The first two were, but I know the PS3 version of the first game had an issue with it because it's the same problem they had with Bayonetta.
Yeah, because of how the memory is allocated.
Yeah, so I I will never understand how the budgets get that high. I'll never understand that.
This is what happens when you want teams of 200 to 300 people working on a game instead of downscaling it to like 30 people and let them make something reasonable.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. But some of them um some of them like EA and Ubi and Activision, you would think they would be able to handle that better or at least allocate their resources better. But especially EA, but EA started letting people go because when they let Tiburon go, I'm like, y'all stupid because I would have kept them around because the games they were putting out, the arcade style games they were putting out were people were buying them. They were selling decently. So I would
Well,
have kept them around just to keep every generation have you have your simulation games, but then you have your arcade style games too. I,
yeah,
that
it
to me
would have
just,
been nice.
I mean, that just sounds that just to me that seems like a better plan as opposed to we're gonna throw all our eggs into the simulation basket.
Too much of the same thing bores the hell out of people.
Yep, that is very true. Sandstorm 3 is actually a lot of fun if you want to play it. I had a lot of fun with it. It's a little more Darksiders 3 is a little more action adventure focused, like some on along the lines of like a Bayonetta or a Devil May Cry kind of, but it's still a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun with it. Well, that's a good point. I don't like the idea of games as a service, but I think that's where we're at right now anyway, because of how much it costs to make games, and the idea with the whole games as a service, the whole microtransactions. Of course, I think the game industry once EA bragged about how much they were making off of it, everybody was like, "Shoot, well, we can do that too," and that
and they
caused
couldn't.
that trend.
Well, I mean, games as a service have been around for a long time, though, because I mean, EverQuest was technically a game as a service, but that was mostly PC stuff where you were paying basically to have access to the game's online servers because they weren't actually dedicated to the game. And then everybody decided, okay, well, we can bring this to consoles too, and it doesn't apply the same way. It just doesn't. Right? You got a bunch of games where you got to pay for stuff that would have been unlockables before, and people are spending money on things that don't actually improve the game any at all. Other than, hey, my character's cosmetically better than yours.
Essentially, but also that's probably the only way they're probably making extra money because they don't want to up the price of the game. Because the to be fair, the prices of some of these games should be closer to 80, $90 a game.
Yeah,
To be fair,
should be.
if you want these high end 4K graphics, you're gonna have to pay for it. It's just like when you go to the theater. You if you go during a matinee, you pay more for 3D. You pay more for IMAX.
Yeah,
So if you want though, you want that high end supposed AAA game, then you should be paying more. But we know good and well because most gamers don't even want to pay 60. They getting mad about paying 60 for a game. So we know they ain't gonna
I
be
said
paying
this.
no 80 or 90.
I said this years ago. People looked at me funny when I said, like, if your game, either they need to start budgeting to make their games uh, profitable at $60, or they just need to charge more for them.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense.
Like the only ones that actually budget that way are Nintendo. And it's easy enough to understand that they can budget that way because they haven't overbloated their hardware with a bunch of stuff that's not necessary.
That is also true. But they don't have the 4K 25 frames per second graphics.
Well, look, I'd rather have something that's 720p, 60 frames for the most part, versus worrying about having 4K and maybe 15 or 20 frames a second.
Yeah, yeah. I still think it's funny that Square Enix sent me that email about Avengers talking about if you want to play on 4K, it's going to be locked at 30 frames a second. I still think that's funny. To this day, I still think that's hilarious that they
Yep.
had to send out emails for that.
It's like, look, we want to tell you the truth up front.
Yeah,
If you want the better looking graphics, it's going to run a little slower. Now, if you want the game to run a little faster, it's not going to look as good.
which the human eye, to be honest, especially depending on what kind of TV you got, you ain't gonna be able to tell the difference anyway.
Yeah,
If we're being
a lot of
honest.
people, a lot of people probably still playing these damn systems on their 1080p HD TV.
Yeah, like they don't. Yeah, yeah. That's probably exactly what's happening. But all right, so week before last, AEW Fight Forever game, they showed two more characters. They showed Chris Statlander and they showed Nyla Rose. Did you get a chance to see that, Andre?
I try no, because when I was going to watch it, I ended up having to work, so I was like, I can't focus on any of it. I wouldn't be able to get a chance to sit and watch. I
Okay.
did hear about it though, and I did see some screenshots, and it looks nice. I mean, there's some lighting and shadowing issues, but they'll probably fix that. But I did hear that people said it looked a little like it had a little bit of a hesitation in the gameplay, the way it looked. But they're still fine tuning it, so I wouldn't expect it to them to be showing me the best of the best right now.
Yeah, they're not gonna. Yeah, because the game is it's a tentative release date of September. So since you haven't seen it, let's let you watch it. So that was the Chris Statlander one. Let me see if I can find the Nyla Rose one.
No, but looking at it, it does look like it has a slight bit of hesitation when they do the moves. Which if it's just a 0.2 second hesitation, I'm not going to be mad.
Well, like I said, it's not final footage either. But here's the Nyla Rose one. If it wants to play, there we go. Okay, so
It,
now
it does it does straight up look like the evolution of No Mercy.
that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. I'm like, dude, this looks like what everybody's been claiming they wanted. No Mercy. Now, do you have a problem with it being arcade? I don't have a problem with it being arcade. I actually want it to be arcade.
No, because that's just going to make it move. Like once they get everything running smoothly, that's going to make it more fun. And that's what I think. What they were trying to do with WWE 2K22 was make it more arcadey, but in essence, they failed at that because then they just left a bunch of glitches in the game. I still have to talk about that, but that's a whole other subject.
Yeah,
But yeah, like a more arcadey wrestling game is more fast paced, but it still has the technical variation for their moves. That'd be awesome.
yeah. That's what like. I like when they do show us like little character updates for the game because they look like they're doing a good job. Like they got that part down. So the only thing now is I'm wondering what kind of modes they're gonna have because AEW they have some crazy matches, and I'm wondering if they're gonna put like a Stadium Stampede mode in there, Arcade Anarchy, like Blood and Guts match, stuff like that. I wonder if those are gonna make it in. I'm hoping they do. I just don't know how you do a Stadium Stampede match.
Oh, they probably figured it out already.
Yeah,
It's probably going to be its own specific game mode where you get one character that you got to work with.
and just have like everything else like well the thing is because most of the time the Stadium Stampede matches we only had two of them but they're cinematic ish
Mm.
matches, so I'm wondering if they're gonna like throw that into or you have to do it where you have to get like 4-on-4 online basically to get that match to go.
Probably.
Yeah, and you just use whatever's in the stadium to make it just as crazy as I don't know what. But that's like my favorite match. I'm kind of they haven't set one up for this year because they're back in Vegas this year, so I'm like we're probably gonna miss a Stadium Stampede match, which is gonna usually a highlight for me of the freaking Double or Nothing pay per view. It's been the highlight for the past 2 years. So yeah, that's going to be sad if they're not able to put one together. But it is what it is. Let's see what else I got on here on the docket. Oh yeah, talking about Switch Sports. Um, do you think it's lacking in content, or or is it lacking in content on purpose? Because I don't think put it like this. I don't think it's lacking in content. I think there were some games that were omitted, and I would want to have those sports in, but I think they're coming anyway. But I don't think it's lacking in content per se. But I want to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, from what I've seen that's on there, no, I don't think it's lacking in content. And I do expect that a lot of the stuff that gets added to it will expand it and make that game a lot more fun. It's basically going from being Wii Sports to being Wii Sports Resort. Because if you think about it, Wii Sports only had what 5 games, and then it had a bunch of mini games between those 5 games,
Yeah,
and that's all Switch Sports is right now. Anyway, it's just got more of that. It's like eight eight different games on there, and they're planning on 8 different sports, and they're planning on adding a few more this summer.
yeah.
So yeah, they're
Golf
not
is
lacking for
personal.
content.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, okay, it doesn't, and you still have to cause you still have to play it to get to the pro level to unlock some of the pro stuff. So it's still got to do all that, and
Yeah,
it's not a walk in the park. I'll put it like that because bowling, once you make it to that pro level in bowling, Nintendo got issues, man. I don't know who thought up that hellified bowling landscape, but yeah, they wrong for that. So, and if
you know what?
anybody,
You know what? You know
yeah.
what? It is lacking in content. It ain't got my boy Matt in there.
Okay, all right.
You got to think about it. Matt was your introductory partner, but then
Yeah,
he let you fight everybody else just to show you that he was the real bad guy in the end.
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's another thing. I'm surprised they didn't put a story mode in there.
That's about the only thing I think would have been if you would consider to be lacking is a story mode, but they probably don't want to put one in there because you know how people get finicky about having their own avatar in the story, but they can't control the story.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was just thought because I just thought about it because they put one in tennis, they put one in golf. I'm like, why didn't they put one in this? But then now you say that, yeah, that makes sense. Because people were tripping about the Mario Tennis story mode and the golf story mode. So
Mhm.
that does make sense. So we know we're getting golf. Do you think boxing is going to be after golf, or do you think they're
It
going to go
should be.
basketball first?
It's either going to be if after golf, it's either going to be boxing or baseball.
Or baseball? Yeah, I forgot all
That's what
about
I'm thinking.
baseball. Yeah, they did have baseball in the first one.
Yeah. And they like now so if we pulling stuff from Wii Sports with Resort, then they definitely need to add in archery. They need to add in the 3 point competition and basketball. And it was the cross
Cycling.
country mountain biking. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah, the
they need to add
cycling thing.
those.
That was man, that was crazy.
I hate. I swear cycling was difficult at first, but then as you got your rhythm, it got so much easier.
Yeah, but that was a point. You had to get your rhythm.
Oh, and they had the jet ski mini game, the jet ski game too, and skydiving. Because skydiving
Well,
was the old introductory mini game.
yeah, the skydiving was cool. The jet ski game made people want 10 8. What was it? Jet was it
Wave race.
wave race? Yeah, wave race 1080 or wave race. What was the last one they did? Wave race. 'Cause it was one on the
I
GameCube,
don't
right?
remember. Yeah, it was on GameCube. I just don't remember the name.
Yeah. So that's what made people want because once they started playing jet ski, they're like, where's our wave race game? Like you ain't getting one. So Um, Jack, I would agree with that, but they're still in development, so I don't know how far along they are as far as the AEW game needing a delay. I can see that, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Because they could be doing the Nintendo method, show you all the bad footage first.
Yeah, because Nintendo does that a lot. They show you everything that looks horrible. You think the game gonna look like that, then you get it, and it don't look nothing like that. So I can see that.
Oh, okay, it was Wave Race Blue Storm.
Blue Storm. Okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, because Dark Void and Wilton said it.
Thank you guys, appreciate it. But yeah, that really did make people want that wave race back playing the jet ski game. Which now that I think about it, why didn't they do another wave race?
Look, this is one of them situations I will call Nintendo out on BS, and it's probably the same excuse as it is for F Zero. We ain't got no more ideas. Bullshit.
Then give it to Shinnin. Then give it to Shinnin. I'm pretty sure they got ideas.
Oh yeah, they definitely do.
I would have been gave I would have after seeing Fast Racing and Fast Racing Neo, I would have given F Zero to Shinnin just to see what they could do with it. That one and what was the biking game Extreme G? But I don't think that was Nintendo's.
That's not Nintendo.
That's who is
What is
that?
it?
Activision.
This, yeah, I think they got it now.
Yeah, that was Activision. So
They
never
they
mind.
bought out the company that had it for a while.
Oh yeah, 1080 snowboard. I forgot about them too.
Wasn't that one of those games that Miyamoto worked on just casually
Yeah,
along the way and they threw it out there?
yeah, because they didn't expect it to make anything. Because I think at the time extreme sports was just getting like notoriety. I
Yeah.
think, and so he was just working on it, and then they just put it out, and it blew up. It just blew up from there. So, and Jack, you are right. It is Ukes, so there is cause for concern, but trying to be a little bit trying to
So like,
think of
I'm
a
giving
positive.
them the benefit, giving them at least the benefit of the doubt at the moment until they show otherwise.
Yeah, and plus I got a little bit more faith in because I don't think Kenny Omega will let that game come out if it's not even
Oh no, his ass gonna be on that motherfucker. Like he's like, nah, we ain't putting this out here.
no.
Like if the game don't feel like it's smooth and fun, we're not putting it out.
Yeah, so that's and he's working on it with them. He's probably the one doing the testing personally, knowing him,
Oh yeah,
especially
he
since
damn
he's
for
out
sure.
injured
He damn
anyway.
sure is.
Especially since he's out injured anyway, he can't because they don't know when he's going to come back because they're talking about now he needs a few more months. So he may not because people were thinking he would probably be back for the Forbidden Door pay per view with New Japan, so they could get another Okada match, and I don't think he's going to be back for that. So uh, since he has that time, I'm pretty sure he's been doing the play testing for that. Pretty sure.
Yep.
So let's see, we got what about 20 more minutes. Did you get a chance to watch that the Sunbreak presentation from last week?
Yeah, I watched it.
What you think?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, one they doing it right, allowing you to get like boosts and stuff starting off on vanilla rise.
Yeah.
But Sunbreak looked like it's going to frustrate people. Like I was just saying, like look, people get mad at games that are too difficult, but they for some reason love Souls like games. But I'm gonna leave that aside. But to be honest, it looks good, and the fact that it's going to be coming to PC at the same time as the Switch is also nice.
Yeah. That was nice of
Now,
them.
only problem I'm having is I wish that they would just maybe cross the platform fucking play. Just do it. But otherwise, yeah, the game looks good. Like
Yeah, I don't
no
understand that
complaints on
either.
it.
Them not doing because Capcom's done cross play before, haven't they?
Yeah, Street Fighter Five,
Yeah.
shitty as that
So
game is.
I wonder why wouldn't they do that? Yeah, whatever. But yeah, I I like the new monsters they show. Well, the remixes of old monsters that they're putting in. Um,
Switch up the patterns on people. Oh, you thought you knew how to fight this motherfucker? Nah, he got new patterns.
yeah, it's a new pattern and they got new abilities and all that. So I'm like, okay, this is gonna be interesting. That's why I'm like, when they said you have to be HR 7, I'm like, I understand now. If you're not HR 7, there ain't no point of you going in there because you're gonna get destroyed. You're gonna get mollywopped. So you're gonna have to be at 7. That's why I got a long way to go, but I should be able to pull it off before the game releases. Um,
Gonna just be straight murked.
yeah. So because I'm interested in how in some of those in some of the stuff that they're doing, some of the upgrades they're doing, especially with the you can switch the skills on the fly. I'm like, thank you.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so it's that's actually pretty cool to
Look,
me.
they said we upgrade the monsters. We at least got to upgrade the player.
At least, yeah, that's nice of them. But like I was telling Jack on Tuesday when we did our live reaction, I'm wondering if they're gonna allow if they're gonna upgrade the whole because they want people to play the whole thing. So they want people to they haven't played Rise to play from Rise through Sunbreak. So if you're doing that, are you going to actually do those switch skill stuff? Is that gonna get updated as well on the Rise side of things? And I'm
I would
hoping it does.
I would think that they do because otherwise you have to have two different versions of the game,
Yeah, and
and
that
they wanted to all work consecutively together.
yeah. And if somebody is starting out from Rise, you're gonna want them to be able to just once they get to HR 7 and can go into Sunbreak, you want it to just be a smooth transition.
Yeah,
You don't want them to have to sit around and learn a whole another playstyle. That's gonna suck. Trinell, yeah. The Morgan, yeah, is basically a vampire. I think that's why I made that joke, the Castlevania joke, when
yeah.
we were doing a live action. I'm like, okay, dude, where's the Simon Belmont crossover? The the Trevor Belmont, the Trevor and Cypher Belmont event quest. I mean, at this point, right?
I mean, look, if they could get Konami to
Sign
sign
off
off
on it.
on it, I'm pretty sure they'll get it. They get Simon or Richter or Julius or somebody. Well,
Yeah,
not Julius because Julius is from the future, but maybe Christopher or Trevor. I mean, they got a lot of options.
yeah. That's what I would, because most of those Japanese companies, they actually all of them know each other anyway. I would probably ask and see what would happen because I'm pretty sure at this point, Konami will probably say yeah, depending on how much money
Look, they
they're
looking
gonna get
at they
off of
looking
it.
at the if Konami's smart, they looking at the success of Monster Hunter right now. They would say yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. In a heartbeat. Um. Wait a minute. Alan Wake was officially announced for Switch.
Yeah, wasn't that announced a couple months ago?
I did not know that.
I did a video on it. Should come to the Switch. So hey, another one for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Guess you got that. Guess you got that one though.
Oh, man. Now, if we could only get condemned 1 and 2 over there.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting if that happened. Um. Let's see what we got chat saying. Oh yeah, Jack. I'm glad you said that. People, if you want to get the physical version, make sure you pre-order the physical version because
Yeah, better.
this is probably gonna be another one of them situations where they only make a certain number, and once they hit that number, they ain't gonna print no more. So
Not unless it becomes super successful, and then they may do a second run.
yeah, so I don't want the Xenoblade thing because I'm telling anybody that want to get Xenoblade Chronicles 3, please make sure you pre-order that physical version because I remember telling Shadow, I'm like, Shadow, you better get this torn of the Golden Country because if you don't, you're gonna miss it. And he never got it. And now to try to get that thing, the cheapest I've seen it is 183, I think.
Yep. I
That's the cheapest I've seen it.
think weren't there rumors that they might be doing a second run of that now?
There was rumors they were gonna do a second run of that one and Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition and 2, but I don't know. Nintendo never said nothing though. So that's why I'm taking that. I'll take that with a grain of
Ah,
because they
damn it.
didn't say Nintendo didn't say anything. Because I would
Oh,
think Nintendo would have made a big deal about it, or at least they'll make a big deal about it next month, since
yeah.
that put it right before time for that put it a month before three's supposed to come out. But I would think they would have did that anyway, just so people could go on and have it.
Hmm.
if they haven't had a chance to play it yet. But yeah, that's one of those situations. Yeah.
Or Nintendo might be sneaky and add the additional portion from the Xenoblade Chronicles X Deluxe. I mean, not X, the Xenoblade Chronicles Deluxe. What is it called? Future,
Future connected.
yeah, Future Connected. They might just put that out as an aside to itself, so
Yeah.
you can get that by itself to get the story.
Yeah. Because and that reminds me, I need to play that. I think Shadow Fox told me it's only like 10 hours, so that's not too bad. So I should be able to knock that out. Because I'm pretty much that. I think that's all I gotta play. I'm on my second playthrough of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I might just go on to finish that since I'm not gonna get Cosmos because of the stupid gotcha game. Sorry, I'm sorry, but I'm probably going to finish that one up too. So before the game comes out, because the way that game's looking, that game looks great. And on Twitter, Nintendo keeps dropping like little locale stuff. I mean, this past week they showed they got to be Guar playing what they showed this past
Mhm.
week on Twitter. So I'm just waiting for them to drop when they're gonna release that special edition, so I can go on and pre-order it. But that's just me.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. You're gonna hear about that like 2 hours before, not even 2 hours, like 5 minutes before they actually make it go live.
yeah. But the thing is, the thing that I like that they're doing is they're doing it via the Nintendo Store, which means it's locked into how many you can get per person, and it's locked into your
Yep,
account, so people have a better chance of getting it as opposed to just leaving it to Best Buy and Amazon.
because they have been doing a crappy job.
Yeah, because they don't care. They gonna get make their money regardless, so they don't care. Um, the Nindy show. Did you get a chance to watch that one?
Yeah, I saw most of it.
Now there was a game on there that we thought you would like. That electric guy with the head.
I don't. Did I see that portion or did I kind of like I was kind of just like sliding through it a little bit, so I may have missed that.
That
What
was the
was the
one
name of
that.
that one?
Oh crap! I can't remember the name. Hold on.
Because if you give me a name, I probably it depends on what the name was. I'm just like, because I know I caught parts of it. I didn't watch the whole thing because I had caught parts of it while I was working.
The I cannot remember the name of that game. Crap. Um, let me
Because
see
actually,
what.
I think I was on the chat while you and Jack were reacting to it.
Yeah, cause we was we were that was the game we were like, yeah, this is the one that Andre's probably gonna pick up. And I'm trying to see what is the no, it's not. Oh, it's Elec Head.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That would be up
Yeah,
my
Elec Head. Because the one I was
alley.
was a Gumbrella. Like Gumbrella looked like a lot of fun to me. Um, it was Gumbrella, and it was another one that I liked.
Yeah, oh yeah, because Gumbrella was the one I was talking about. Dude, who stole Penguin's umbrella.
Basically, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's the crab one, the one that
The one that's
the
supposed to be souls,
yeah.
the
But
souls crabs.
the sad thing about that was like they pretty much like they when they brought the developers on, they were like, yeah, our first game didn't make no money. I'm like, wait, what?
Let's
like,
say the first game ain't made no money, but y'all went back with the crabs. You just turned it into a souls game.
I'm like, okay, that's different.
Like,
But yeah,
but why you tell everybody that?
yeah, I just wouldn't have said that. I really wouldn't have said that. But hey, props for them. Props for them for doing that. It takes confidence to do that. But that game actually looked like it was interesting because I could see how that could be fun, especially with uh the different stuff you have to put you can find and use for your shell. I thought that was actually pretty cool. And the Elec head, it looks fun, but it looks like that would. I'm not good at games like that, so I'm not good at the Mega Man 2 style, NES style games. I'm not good at those. So, That was that. But yeah, Gunbrella looked like it was a lot of fun. That looked like that's going to be a lot of fun. Um, and I was kind of thinking, I'm like, okay, because I know we got the last direct in February. I'm like, shouldn't we have got an indie by now? And then they got one for this month, which means I'm thinking, and I want to ask you, do you think we're getting a direct that week that Microsoft is putting out their stuff? Because Microsoft and Bethesda are doing their presentation on June 12th. Do you think we're getting direct that week?
Yeah, because Nintendo had already planned it anyway. 'Cause before E3 was canceled, they had already had their plans set. They knew what they were doing. That's why they were shuffling games around and messing with people's heads.
I hate when they do that, by the way. But yeah, I really despise when they do that. But yeah, so the only thing though, I don't know if we actually getting Treehouse Live. That's gonna be because I love Treehouse Live. Treehouse Live is
Well,
just
I could
the best.
I could still see them doing the treehouse because again, they don't need E3 to do it. They've done several of them without E3.
Yeah, but I would like for them to do. I don't like the way they did it. That well, not last year, but the year before last, when they were trying to do it via
Oh, and they're trying to do it basically via Skype, and it did not
yeah,
work well.
it was not working well. I'd rather them do it like in the actual office, like in
Well,
Seattle, because
well, it may be.
yeah, because I'm like that trying to do it that way, it was cutting in and out. Is just it did that kind of didn't work that well. So
Well, I can't even blame Nintendo on that. I got to blame the developers having spotty internet.
that too, because it all does depend on where you're where you at. Because once again, especially if you're in the states, if you're in the states, it depending on where you live at, your internet probably suck.
Especially in the Midwest.
Yeah, especially in the Midwest and certain areas in the South, like if certain places in Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, Louisiana, Bama, Texas, y'all know y'all got spotty internet. You got to be around damn near a metropolitan area to have good internet. To
And
be
yet we
fair,
got these companies trying to make everything be online only.
yep, that's how we knew that wasn't gonna ever work. Thank God well, some of them still trying to do it, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. I say Amazon is definitely still trying to do it with Luna, but now they have, like I said before, they're doing what I had suggested in the first place and letting you get Luna games for free through your Prime subscription.
Yeah, I still have. I'm a Prime member, and I'm still haven't tried any of this stuff out.
I
Um,
mean, you might as well on at least on the PC side of things, even if you don't play any of the games right off, because they put a bunch of stuff free on if you go through Prime Gaming, you get a bunch of free games.
yeah, I just haven't tried it. I may try it one of these days, just see what it's like. Because I don't game on PC often. Um, it's just with stuff that I can't find anywhere else, which is usually only like a couple of RPG games. But that's just that. But I'll probably give that a try later, at some point
Mm-mm.
in time. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for the podcast for this week. Anything you playing that's special that caught your eye?
Not right now, but I do have like a complaint-filled roast in my head for WWE 2K22.
Okay, gonna be on the lookout for that then. I did try Uden Chronicles on Game Pass. I'm actually liking it. I know like the some of the reviews I've seen, people don't like the fetch quest nature of it, but I think it's all right because it's setting up the story. So I don't think that's a problem with me anyway. It's gonna depend how it plays into 100 Heroes, but I don't mind
Mm.
it so far. I'm about 3 hours in. I don't really mind it so far. I'll probably live stream some of it next week, but that one I don't really
Uh,
mind. I did
I
put
think I
a
downloaded that.
Yeah, it's not bad because you're basically playing with three characters and you play with the first character for a little bit to learn the game, but there are a little bit of there, there's a little bit of issues at first that I noticed with the gameplay, but then it smoothed out. So I don't know if that's just like a developer thing. I don't know, but once you get the hang of it, it's really not that bad. But it is a lot of little side quests. But what you're doing is actually helping to build up the town, and then I'm guessing that this is going to lead into whatever 100 Heroes is.
Hmm.
So, like I said, I'm early on in the game. I'm enjoying myself. It looks great, plays great. I don't have a problem with it. Also put up some gameplay of Metroid, the first Metroid Prime yesterday. Gonna do the first hour of three, just because it keeps getting rumored that Metroid Prime is getting a remaster or HD remaster or remake or whatever. And I'm like, should you do the whole thing or just the first one? And I'm like, you should probably just do the whole thing because the first one and the second one, it would need some quality of life improvements. Just because I know people aren't going to want to finish it,
Yeah,
not with how they made those first two. All that backtracking you have to do, and there's no way to fast travel it. Like there's no ship you can use. There's no teleporter. You have to walk.
the
I don't.
Samus don't move that fast in that game.
Yeah, and I don't know how people are going to respond to that. Now the third one, they did some things that actually helped with that, like using your ship to actually fly halfway through the level, so you can use the ship at certain waypoints. So that was actually a better thing than what they did in the first two games. So that's why I was like, if they're gonna remaster any of them, you should do the third one because the third one uh actually has voice acting and all that stuff. So all the stuff that people claim they want. So I'm like, hey, do the third one, not the first two, because the first two would need, in my opinion, would need full on remake uh status because of the simple fact that it needs quality of life improvements to it, in my opinion.
Uh, I see. I'm
Uh,
not even thinking that they're going to do a remake of any of them. What I'm thinking is that they're just going to go ahead and drop the Wii on Nintendo Switch Online sometime later on, like maybe early next year,
and just do it like
and
that.
that's how the yep, and that's how they're going to end up on there.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime Trilogy is going to end up on there, and that's how it's going to happen.
Okay, that makes sense. Trinell, yeah, backtracking is it is to an extent, but how they did it in the first two games, it's kind of it gets tedious. It's not like it's like when you backtrack in Dread or you backtrack in Super Metroid, it's not tedious because you know why you're having to backtrack. In the first two Prime games, it got to the point where it was like it didn't make any sense, for lack of
Is
a better
mostly
word.
that the first two Prime games didn't really have it didn't give you a sense of direction like the other game, like the 2D Metroid games did.
Yeah, because they were supposed to be like open world ish type games. So you had to go to the different sections of the, especially the first game, the first Prime game, you were going to different sections of the world of that planet, Talon Four. But the way they did some of the backtracking in it, it would literally be to the point where you would have to go all the way back to the very first where the ship landed to get one thing, to go all the way back to the ice side of the planet, to then go all the way back to the forest side of the planet. It got to a point where it was like it didn't make sense. It was just like
And
half
they
the game. You probably would have spent probably about 15 hours of that game just walking.
yeah, and the biggest problem was that when they set it up for backtracking, they didn't always give you a quick route when you were backtracking. Now, if
Yeah,
they did it where you could, where certain areas were interconnected and you could get to where you needed to go more easily, fine. But that wasn't always the case.
yeah, yeah. So there'll be certain gameplay stuff that you would have to do. Like it would literally take you about 30 minutes to walk back to get back to the beginning of the game, just so you can get the rocket boots to go all the way back to where you fought the elite pirate, so you can open the door to get to the crater.
Yeah,
It Yeah, it made no sense. Like it wasn't. It was a bad level design in that regard in the first two games, because they would literally do that, and it was like, okay, why is there not a quicker route? And I know gamers now, they're not going to want to do that. They're just not going to want to do that. They're going to be complaining about that. So that's why I'm like, those first two games need those like quality of life improvements to it, in my opinion, if you're going to do it. The third game, you can do that. You can just remaster that one, because that one has all that stuff. It's easier for the traversal and the backtracking is easier in that game.
yeah.
That makes sense. Hey, it's RJH. Yeah, I saw that Atlas doing a survey to see what games they want. I'm like, everybody's been saying Persona. You don't need a survey for that.
Especially for the Switch, everybody been asking for the damn Persona games
Yeah,
for
I'm
the
like,
Switch.
dude, you don't need a survey for that. Like,
All y'all,
you
all
know what
y'all gotta
people want.
do, all y'all gotta do is take all those Persona games that y'all remade or made additions to, put them together in a collection, throw them on the Switch.
Yeah.
Y'all be fine. But y'all don't want to listen.
I mean, like
Too damn
we've been
stubborn.
telling Square Enix the same thing. Put Kingdom Hearts Final Mix 1 and 2 on the Switch. Should have did it on the Wii U
Not
too, but
cloud
put it on the
versions.
Switch. Not the cloud bull crap. The actual game. But that's neither here nor there. Say la vie. But yeah, you put Persona in the collection. I promise you that thing get bought day one for a lot of people.
Yep.
And then hey, if you even want to, if you want to make it even more sweeter for people, pull a Pokemon company and just throw out a Persona Switch.
Yep. No Nintendo wouldn't say no to that.
Mm-mm.
Especially if you're gonna do an OLED model. Oh yeah, they'll
Yeah,
happily let you do that.
the Joy-Con, get them Joy-Cons and the Pro controllers. I mean, look, Capcom done did it twice. They done did a Magna Malo Switch Pro controller, and they about to do this one for Malzeno. Just saying. So Atlas should know by now what people been begging for. I mean, they've
They
only been
do.
saying it for what, the past 4 years.
Mhm.
I mean, I just don't know what else people have to say. Like, you don't really need a survey for that.
They know what people want. They just want to play stupid.
Yeah. And RJ, yeah, you're right, dude. Everybody's been saying that when it comes to Atlas, Namco, and Square Enix. I've said this before. I'm like, I don't understand. I guess they're allergic to money. I I don't
I,
get it. I just don't get it.
I mean, most of the companies, if you as a gamer know something that they don't, that's a problem.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a real
like I,
problem.
like I have said multiple times, Ubisoft, you don't want to put the mainline Assassin's Creed games on Nintendo. Guess what you can do? Ask Nintendo if you can put an Assassin's Creed style Zelda game on their consoles. They will not say no.
No, hell they let you put Star Fox in freaking that Toys to Life game
Starlink.
y'all had.
They let you put Star Fox and Starlink.
Yeah, so I don't see
They
them
let y'all
saying
make
no to that.
they let y'all make Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Yep, and even
I
let you make a
mean,
Mario diss track.
yeah, that's the funny thing.
Yeah, because Tom Fan went off. Tom Fan went
And,
straight
and
off.
y'all had people that wanted to do a Zelda game. This is your way. This is your ticket in.
Yep, Assassin's Creed with the Sheikah. And
Yeah.
if you want to be extra, do one for the Yiga too.
But if you want to be extra extra, do one for the Gerudo on top of that.
On top of that, yeah. and to make that one even funnier, make it where you have to get a date because I love that part of Breath of the Wild. I love that part of Breath of the Wild. When you go to the class, when you see them teaching that class, and they be talking about pretty much forcing dudes to marry. That looks hilarious.
They talking about assault of an adult nature.
Oh, it's a
They don't say
classroom.
the words. They don't say the words, but they definitely imply it.
It's just funny because it's a when you find a place, it's a literal classroom. And when you see what's on there, you're like, I can't believe Nintendo did this, but it's hilarious. It's funny.
There's a there's a bunch of people that don't know how to do something telling you how to do it.
Yeah, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. But all right, Trinell asked, do you guys think there will be a Switch Lite with the OLED version? Probably at some point. Yeah,
Potentially, yeah.
yeah. I mean, because that's what. To be fair, the Switch Lite is basically their handheld, so I
Yeah.
don't see why they wouldn't do that. To be
So
honest,
yeah, I could see them doing a Switch Lite OLED with an 8-inch screen
yeah.
and
Um,
smaller bezels.
possibly for what the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, more than likely.
Yeah, and drop it at a 250 price point.
Yep, that thing is sell. Especially you throw Pokemon on it, it's gonna sell. So yeah, I can see that. I would like a new Rayman too. I just don't know what. Well, 3D would be interesting. 3D would be interesting. I did like the last Rayman they did, Rayman Legends. I did like that.
I, I think the last Rayman that was 3D was on PlayStation.
Yeah. So I wouldn't mind seeing a 3D Rayman since we've gotten like uh since we do have like 3D Mario and we're finna get a 3D Sonic with that Frontiers. I'm still interested in that, even though I know Sega doesn't have the best track record. I'm still kind of interested in seeing what Frontiers is gonna look like. I am still interested in seeing that, but
Hoping to breathe some life into Sonic.
yeah, me too. Because I actually like the character. So here's hoping, right? All right, people. So we're about to get out of here, but before we do, if you notice in the description, if you're watching this on YouTube, I put a link into the BIPOC Stream Awards. Please go to that link and vote. Voting is now open for the awards. So trying to make sure that we support that is being headed up by a good buddy of our channel, Vicky from Fangirl Review. That's her baby.
Hmm.
So we want to make sure that we support and show some love. So when you have a little time, if you can go to that link, please vote. You can see on the website they have where you have vote now. Just click on that and vote for your favorite people. We actually got the Wingin podcast actually got nominated for YouTube streamer. So thank you. Really will appreciate a vote. So that's gonna do it for tonight's podcast. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you everybody in the chat. Really do appreciate you for coming through. Don't forget to check out from earlier today. Myself and Vicky did a fresh take for episode 8 of Halo. We've been reviewing that as well as you can check our previous episodes for Moon Knight as well. Um, I also had some gameplay up of, like I said, Metroid Prime. I'm gonna try to do some Yuden Chronicles next week, this coming week, as well as some RPGs on the Switch because I had some people ask me what are some of my favorite RPGs on the Switch. So I'll probably try to do um, a few games probably this coming week, a few RPGs, just some of my favorites on the system. Okay, I'll wait for Andre to get back.
Oh no, I'm here.
Okay. Anything you want to pimp out before we get out of here?
Um, Nothing specifically other than the cross on episode that I forgot to upload, and that's my fault. So it'll be up tomorrow. Um,
Okay.
there's that, and then I just have a bunch of stuff I'm just gonna upload throughout the week. So just keep an eye out.
All righty. All right. Cool. So Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow, all that other good stuff. And we will see you guys next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace out, people.
Yep. Peace out, everybody.